Hey there, good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here to do the show that we do on Tuesday nights. This is a kind of an idea that Ben had, in which he chooses a topic or a question is probably the better way to put it, and then my job is to answer the question. So there's basically, this is a mini series, so we're only doing 6 episodes of this. This will be the third one. And the topic that he gave me tonight is rank the debut albums of the Big Six. And I absolutely feel that he was talking about the Big Six of Prague, so that's not too hard to do. Um, how do I see these albums? Well, I probably see them very differently than most people do. So as I give you my ranking, I'll kind of say how I feel that other people might view them. So there are, of course, 6 of them. And we're going to start with the one that I think belongs at the bottom. And I've kind of mixed it up a bit. So there, now it's right. So the one I think goes at the bottom of this Big Six is Genesis, uh, eh, from Genesis to Revelations. Good album, 17 tracks in total. Very young looking Genesis members, as you can see here. Very young looking bunch here. So this album, of course, came out in 1969, was their debut album. On this album, of course, you got Tony Banks, Peter Gabriel, Anthony Phillips, Mike Rutherford, John Silva on drums, and then Chris Stewart, who played 2 tracks here, number 14 and 15, which is The Silent Sun, and That's Me. So some good, it's a pretty poppy album. I would say very monkey-ish sounding, if you want that term, although the lyrics are much more complicated. You can clearly hear it's Peter Gabriel's voice. It's not, but it doesn't really sound anything like Genesis. But it's not bad. I don't mind it. So that means that pretty much like all 6 of the albums, but none of them are super strong for me. This one's probably a 3 on my scale list, which is masterpiece 1, 2, and 3. This would be a 3, probably mid-range 3. So it's not a terrible album. Um, Terrible albums don't get ranked; they get put back into the stack, and then maybe to get another chance somewhere down the line. That's just the way I operate. So this is Genesis from Genesis to Revelations, released in 1969, their debut album, coming at number 6. Number 5, this won't surprise many people, although I think this album, if we were actually doing the ranking by a consensus, this one would probably be the number 1 album here by a long shot. So we're talking about Emerson, Lake and Palmer's debut album. This is a very well-loved album by people who like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Definitely would be a top album in most people's collection. I'm just not a big fan. I do like the cover. There is a couple of tracks on here I don't mind. Um, but for the most part, it's just not something that's terribly memorable to me. I do like the song Lucky Man. It's probably my favorite Emerson, Lake and Palmer track. But beyond that, I don't really listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And so, but I don't hate the album. I like it better than the Genesis one, just primarily because of Lucky Man. But so it's going to come here at number 5. Number 3, from Pink Floyd, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Album cover's kind of psychedelic. I don't mind that. There are 11 tracks on here. Most of them are decent enough, but not terribly memorable to me. It's a very kind of poppy, some similar stuff going on as was going on in the Genesis album, kind of poppy, a little bit more psychedelic flavor to it. It does have Interstellar Overdrive, which I do like, and that song on its own propelled it ahead of the Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And the fact that overall I probably like the songs on here more than the Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and that's why I put it here at number 4. If we were talking, like I said, if people were ranking these by consensus, this is probably a top 3 or 4 album among the ones we're doing right now. Next up, Jethro Tull. So this is a bit of a jump up for me. I like this album. Song for Jeffries is on here. Beggar's Farm. There's a couple of tracks on here I kind of like. They're a little bit. This is a little bit more bluesy than I generally like my Jethro Tull, and doesn't really have that Jethro Tull sound yet, but it's still good. There's lots of flute or pipe on here if you prefer. Guitar's good. Instrumentation is pretty good. The songs are decent enough. I just haven't never warmed up to it to the level I probably should. Maybe I will eventually, but I think it's a good enough album to finish here third. If they were doing this by consensus ranking, I think maybe the Yes album, the King Crimson album, and the ELP album would get ahead of it, and maybe it would fight it out with Pink Floyd. So next up, of course, we're down to the final two. This won't come as any surprise how this is going to go. Um, Most people, I think, would put this in the second spot as well, maybe third. We're talking about the Yes's debut album. Yeah, very different from the Yes that I came to love, but it's not a bad album. I've gotten used to it over the years too. It's probably the most listened to of these albums by me. Sweetness is great. Survival, I like. Looking Around, I like that. I See You Beyond and Before. These are all decent tracks. It's kind of a more of a poppy album, very similar to the Genesis and the Pink Floyd album, a little bit more poppy. This one doesn't have that psychedelic edge that you get on the Piper at the Gates of Dawn. But I think it narrowly edges out It Was here for the second spot. So those albums, not much difference for me from top to bottom. You could come back in a week and they might all be flipped around. The next album is definitely number one, easily, probably better than the other five combined, if you ask me. We're talking about In the Court of the Crimson King. This is a fantastic album, destined for masterpiece for me eventually. Probably a better album combined than all of those other albums. Come here, number one, easily. I like all five of the tracks here. I initially was not receptive to 21st Century Schizoid Man because I didn't really like the version April Wine did, and that was the only version I knew until I got the album. But I do like it much more now, and I like all the tracks on here quite a bit. Most of my favorite King Crimson stuff is on this album, and the album itself, the cover is fantastic. So this came out in 1969. I think this finishes first for me on this ranking of the 6 studio albums of the Big Six. So I'll give them to you all back again. And if I was, like I said, if this was being voted on by the general public, I think that King Crimson album would probably finish either second or third behind the Yes and the Emerson, Lake and Palmer album. And I don't think the Yes album is better. I don't see it being better. But because it's Yes, it's going to get a lot more points than it would if it was a King Crimson album. So I'll give you the number one through six in the descending order this time. So King Crimson's In the Court of the Crimson King, number one. Number two, Yes's debut album. Number three, It Was, or This Was. I always want to say It Was, but it's This Was from Jethro Tull. That's number three. Number four, Piper at the Gates of Dawn from Pink Floyd. Number five, the debut album from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I believe this was 1970. Yep. And then the final one, also from '69, is Genesis from Genesis to Revelations. Really, actually, a pretty good album. Just it's got some severe competition to get through here. So that's my rankings. That answers Ben's question. Rank the albums from the Big Six. That's the way I see them. If you want, you could rank them differently. I'll guarantee you, without a doubt, that if I was to do a consensus of people watching the channel, when they put their rankings down, I'm almost certain that ELP album would be at the top of the heap. Anyways, just my opinion. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want, you can do your own ranking of these six in the comment section below. I'm interested to see how people actually really view these. Maybe it's just me, but we'll see how it goes. Take care and have a good one.